Hello guys, and happy 4th of July from Jensen Games. Today we're not playing a game, guys. Today we're going to explore a list of the most patriotic games. And I know, you're probably saying, Jensen, not everybody celebrates the 4th of July. Not everybody lives in the USA, I know that. But you know what, I do. So this is my list. And even if you don't celebrate the 4th of July, this is still a pretty cool list to check out. The first game we're going to check out is called America's Army. This game was actually released as a global public relation initiative to help recruitment. This game was essentially conceived and made for America's Army, hence the name of the game. There are dozens of government training and simulation applications using America's Army as their main platform to develop and train and educate US Army soldiers. That makes this game even more badass because it's being used to train our soldiers. How awesome is that? And I guess really that makes this more of a simulation than a game. But oh well, it's on the list anyway. This simulation is actually also around the world to deliver a virtual soldiering experience to participants at events. And those events can include air shows, amusement parks, sporting events, all kinds of stuff all around the country. I think there's an Xbox version, I think there's an Xbox 360 version, and I'm also pretty sure there's an arcade version as well. And you know, if the Army is using it, this game has to be super realistic, and it certainly is. GameSpot said they admired the game's authenticity, and it's pretty realistic. You take 1 or 2 shots and you go limp. You take more than that, then you're done. And there's not just America's Army, there's America's Army 2, 3, Proving Grounds, Rise of the Soldiers, Special Operations, all kinds, and they're on all kinds of platforms. There's even one on mobile devices. I mean, come on, this is one of the simulations that the American Army uses to train with. There's no way I could leave this off the list, so this definitely gets a place on the list. Next up is 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. Now this one's sort of an odd game. It's not every day that a rapper goes and invests his name into a game. In fact, I can't even really think of any other game besides the Rapstar games and the Def Jam, fighting games. Now the game's plot revolves around rapper 50 Cent, and the co-player's characters can be one of 3 members of G-Unit crew. That includes Tony Yayo, Lloyd Banks, or DJ Woo Kid. And each character specializes in different kind of combat techniques. The game is set in an urban war zone in an unnamed Middle Eastern country, where 50 Cent and G-Unit have been hired to play a rap concert. And after the concert, the promoter cannot pay them the $10 million that they were promised. But instead, he gives them this diamond and pearl encrusted human skull. Then it's stolen by terrorists. So 50 Cent and G-Unit decides to go help and try to get it back. Yeah, this is the actual plot of the game. I am not kidding. And actually the game ended up not being that bad. Yeah, I mean the story, come on, it's not really something that's gonna catch your attention. It's just something to hold the damn thing together. And come on, the story is some rappers going to get their diamond encrusted skull back. That was payment for their rap concert in the Middle East. The story is mostly nonsense is what I'm trying to say. And the dialogue sounds half-assed. It sounds like half the voice actors just wasn't into it and just wanted to get the hell out of there. There's not much, I guess, patriotic about the game, but come on, it's 50 Cent fighting for his damn country. America, fuck yeah! Now the next game has a special place in my heart because I love the hell out of this game, and I'm sure many others do too. I'm talking about Freedom Fighters. Now in this game you're just an average Joe working on the job. Then all of a sudden, the Soviet Union launches an attack on New York City. And I won't really reveal much of the plot because if you haven't played it, it's really a good play and I recommend playing it. So there you go. In this game, you have to do various things. You have to capture bases, destroy enemy supplies, and you have to gain more charisma in order to recruit more teammates. And you can have up to a maximum of 12 teammates at a time. There was just something about taking the time and building up your forces to take down the Soviet Union. The game is just downright just amazing. And in 2004, Eidos actually revealed plans on making a sequel. They wanted to make a Freedom Fighters 2. But they decided to make a Kane and Lynch game instead. So you know what, Eidos? Go fuck yourself. Because honestly, they could have made a wonderful sequel to a very amazing game, but no, they decided to make a piece of shit. In 2010, they brought it up again, but then they said, well, we're gonna work on Hitman Absolution instead, so it's just a canceled game, pretty much. Overall, Freedom Fighters has a ton going for it. The squad-based kind of mechanics are awesome. The way you can build up your crew is awesome. Everything about this game is just awesome. And the way that you're fighting to get America back from the Soviet Union is just great. And that makes this game, you know, top on my list. I mean, I know I'm not going in any kind of special order, but I mean, if I had to, this game would probably be number 1 for me. Picture this. In the year 2000 blah blah, America has plunged itself into a state of civil and economic unrest. And several states attempt to secede from America to protect their own interest as a result, leading to a conflict known as Arizona insurrection. So then this guy Michael Wilson becomes president, but the vice president decides to try to take over, and this vice president, Richard Hawke, just pretty much kicks Wilson out of the office, and then Hawke decides to rain down terror and makes detrimental actions as president, and that includes reinstating slavery. Somehow Wilson escapes the White House without dying, and he escapes in his powered armor. He then begins to take back America by liberating cities and outposts. He travels from the west all the way to the east across the country, facing many of his former comrades of the insurrection. And all these comrades that he actually encounters are defected to this evil president that is within the White House. So a lot of things happen, and somehow the vice president and the actual president fight in outer space to the freaking death. The video game I'm talking about is Metal Wolf Chaos. What more could you want in a video game? As patriotic as this game is, ironically it was never released in the United States. It was only released in Japan, and it was also only released on Xbox. Even though the game was never released in the West, Metal Wolf Chaos gained a cult status following after YouTube videos depicting the game's voice acting and plot was released. And also the game was really fast to have a collection value. And this game seems super rare these days. I looked on eBay and I only seen one real copy of the game, and it was $250. Overall, even though this game was not released in the West, it still is a tremendous patriotic game. I would tell you to check it out, but the game is super rare, so I don't know how much you can really check it out. Overall, it deserves a place on this list. Next on this list is the Tycoon Games. And yes, there are a ton of Tycoon games, all across the board from different developers and all kinds of different games. And when I mean all kinds of different games, I mean all kinds. I pulled up a list of all the different kind of Tycoon games, and I'll read some of them off. There's Lemonade Stand, Windfall, the Oil Crisis game, Business Games, Corn Cropper, Dodgy Dealer, Millionaire, Muggsy, The Biz, Make Millions, Stock Market, Sid Meier's Railroad Tycoon, Mad TV, A-Train, Aerobiz, Buzz Aldrin's Race into Space, Detroit, Dino Park Tycoon, Sid Meier's Railroad Deluxe, Gazillionaire Airlines, Mad News, Roller Coaster Tycoon, Theme Park, Cosmos, Transport Tycoon Deluxe, Fugger 2, I don't know what the hell that is, Harvest Moon, Theme Hospital, Airline Tycoon, Gangsters, Lula the Sexy Empire. Lots of strange games I just named off, and I don't even know half of them, but that's not even the tip of the iceberg. There are literally thousands, maybe even millions of Tycoon games. And you may be asking yourself at this point, why are Tycoon games so patriotic? Well, nothing is more American than capitalism, preferably the rampant and unchecked variety. And nothing is more capitalist, rampant, and unchecked in the gaming world than the Tycoon series. These games are all pretty much business simulators. There are some like the Railroad Tycoon and Roller Coaster Tycoon series, which are totally legitimate, but there are others out there like Cruise Ship Tycoon, Snowboard Tycoon, are cheap knockoffs. And still, there are even weird ones like Lemonade Tycoon and Fairy Godmother Tycoon, which are just plain out there crazy. However, all of them are making money off the appeal of making money. And to me, just for the simple concept of the games, that's pretty much what America's based off of. It's just the absolute monopoly of businesses. And yes, it's not the most patriotic thing, but you know what? I still think it belongs on this list. What would America be without politics, guys? Political machine. This game is all about winning the hearts of the American voters and achieving victory. For your presidency, that is. This is pretty much a campaign simulation. You're running for president and you have to do the same things that you would in real life. You have to talk about the issues, the political topics. Stuff like Afghanistan and the economy and Obamacare, income equality, gay rights, national debts, and so on. You have to work on your policies, your regional issues, the right to work, state minimum wage, local environmental policies, all kinds of stuff. It really kind of opens your eyes and seeing all the things that a person would have to deal with on their way to the campaign trail. You either win and become the president, or you start over and try again, making a different campaign plan and just trying to win the people over yet again. Maybe figure out where you went wrong the first time. Yes, this game is all about politics, but where would we be in America right now without politics? So I'm including this in on the list because in a way it is kind of patriotic. It lets you see what it takes to become president. This game was popular among the North American elementary school students of the 1980s to the late 90s. And if you went to school during that time, then chances are you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Oregon Trails. The game was originally made on December 3rd of 1971. A student teacher by the name of Don Rawich made the game for his classroom. The game was a hit and widely popular in his classroom, and then he made it available to the school's time-sharing service. When the semester ended, however, Rawich actually deleted the program, although he did print out a copy of the source code. And that was pretty much it until 1974 when MECC, which was a state-funded organization that developed educational software for classrooms, hired him. Then he ended up just using that source code and adding historically accurate features to the game. Now if you didn't know anything about Oregon Trail, then the players assume the role of a wagon leader. He's guiding his party of settlers from Independence, Missouri, all the way to Oregon's Willamette Valley. It educates you about hunting, food, all kinds of stuff. It even teaches you about death, because people die. It pretty much educates you on how the early settlers lived, and it did it in a more fun way. The game had so many different iterations of it. It had one on the Apple, it had one on Macintosh, one on Windows. It even came out on DSiWare, and it came out on Wii and 3DS. It even came out on mobile phones. And it's even had parodies such as the Oregon Trail, which is sort of like a zombie iteration of it. Overall, all these versions lead to believe that it's still popular even today, and it gives us an early look into the history of America, so it's patriotic, and it belongs on this list. Oh look, another staple of America. Good old-fashioned competition. You don't get any more red, white, and blue than American Gladiators. Most people know the television show, but there actually was a Nintendo game based off of that. And it was greatly different than the game show itself. Events were morphed into side-scrolling and overhead mini-levels, only partially resembling the real-life events. It still had a lot of the same events that the TV show did have. It just showed it differently. You had Joust, you had Human Cannonball, The Wall, Assault, you had Powerball, and the Eliminator. And then it got an upgrade to the Super Nintendo. And that's when the game changed. That's when it became more faithful to the television series. The game offered a 2-player mode where you could alternate play based on the events. There was also a tournament mode where up to 16 players, 8 male and 8 female, could face off. Any missing slots could be filled with computer players. All the previous events were here, and it also added Atmosphere. Overall, the games were well received. and I believe they belong on this list with all their patriotic glory. The next game was called America's 10 Most Wanted, and it was also released as Fugitive Hunter War on Terror in the US. The game is a first-person shooter for PlayStation 2 and PC. It was released in 2004, and it was mainly received negatively due to the dated graphics it had, and it also had uninspired boss battles as well. The game was set in the present, and the game puts the players in action of Jake Seaver, a CIFR agent. You travel to different locations such as Utah, Paris, and Miami. The game's final act is in Afghanistan, where players must capture Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden. Yeah, the last bit of game actually lets you kill Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden. Now if that isn't America, fuck yeah, then I don't know what is. The game contained 10 levels, one for each fugitive. The game is pretty much your typical first-person shooter, and it features arcade-style third-person fights, which is your means of capturing the in-level fugitives. Ultimately, the game was generally received poorly, like I said, due to the dated graphics and substandard gameplay. Scott Rohde of CNET Australia says that the game sounded pathetic and the gameplay was terrible, and the graphics were just a downright embarrassment for a modern game. And looking at the game, even back then, yeah, this game does pretty much look like a disappointment. But any game that lets you kill Osama bin Laden or Saddam Hussein, I still gotta say, that's still America fuck yeah to me. So even though it's a horrible game, it still belongs on this list. The Metal Gear Solid series. Yes, I'm including all the games as a series. Now if I sat here and talked about this series, I would be sitting here all day long. It's a series that doesn't exactly shed the right light on America, but you know what? It still belongs on this list because it's not patriotic in the light you would like it to be, but it's still patriotic all the same. You've got your US government as a puppet organization controlling by a select few. A scathing stance on nuclear disarmament. The flow of information controlled by the media and government. The defecting agents playing havoc to the US foreign policy. Or that every military soldier is a disenfranchised pawn, following orders. The most satirical series on the market, as it pertains to war, politics, and the world at large. Every single game within this series is awesome. You cannot go wrong playing any single one of these games. Now like I said, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this series because most video gamers know this series. Hell, a majority of gamers have already played and beat all of these games. So I'm just going to say, if you haven't already checked out these games, just go ahead and check them out. I recommend any of them, because they're all just awesome. Now like I said, these games don't shed the best light on America, but you know what, they're still patriotic all the same. And because of that, it gets a place on this list. And if I was ranking the list, this would certainly be high on it. Now, I've talked a ton about this video game series before, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time dwelling on it now. Now when I think about games and I think about America, all the one and the same, then I think about Duke Nukem. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, come on, the newest game in the series has the American flag behind him. While Duke is saving the world from the alien invaders, he's not really shy about letting everybody know where he comes from. Hell, in the last game, he actually announced his intent on becoming the 69th President of the United States. That would certainly be one hell of a thing to see. There'd be strip clubs in every single corner across America. Overall, I don't think it gets any more patriotic than Duke Nukem. I mean, come on, the guy owns a monster truck. What's more patriotic than a damn monster truck? And for that, he gets a place on this list. The next game I'm focusing on is Medal of Honor, and more specifically the 2010 video game. This one is the 13th installment of the Medal of Honor series. While the previous titles were set during World War II, this one takes place in the ongoing war in Afghanistan, and it really hits more home because it's more recent. The gameplay focuses on portraying operations in Afghanistan. Typical in-game objectives include raiding enemy hideouts, hostage situations, undercover operations, and so on. The single-player campaign takes place in Afghanistan in 2002, For half of the game, the player assumes the role of a Navy SEAL DEVGRU. The other half of the game, you alternate between roles of a Delta Force sniper as well as a US Army Ranger. I won't go into the plot or anything because I really don't want to spoil for anybody who does want to play this game and haven't already. But the game is pretty much a homage to the soldiers that do go out there and fight every day for us. And it's pretty much a love letter to them. So for that, it belongs on this list. The next game on the list is Saint Rose. Mainly Saint Rose 4, but I'm talking about the series as a whole as well. Hell, in Saint Rose 4, you get to be the damn president of the United States of America. This game just screams America at the top of its lungs, and it does not care one bit. I mean, come on, you have to disable a nuke, all to the tune of Aerosmith's Don't Wanna Miss a Thing. What in the hell is better than that? The game has you fighting off aliens and defending the world. It has you defending your country. The Commander-in-Chief edition actually has a weapon called America, and it has an Uncle Sam suit and a screaming eagle jet. It doesn't get any more America than that. I mean, come on, fighting aliens in an Uncle Sam suit while shooting them with a gun called America. Just go ahead and picture that for a second. Don't worry, I won't tell anybody you have a boner. Overall, the game is patriotic to the T, and it most certainly belongs in this list. Now, this last game is a weird one, but I decided to include it because I thought it was just a strange game. Now, this game is patriotic. I mean, I just gotta explain it. Okay, so this game is weird. It's absolutely bizarre, and that's why I'm including on this list. And I mean, come on, it is patriotic in its own way. So, this indie developer has purposely built a game that makes its players behave like idiots. It's Mira Clap, in which one must clap to keep the United States flag flying. Let me try to explain it a little better. The game uses the microphone to detect the sound of clapping, and that's pretty much the only thing keeping Old Glory from touching the ground. And every American knows that you're not supposed to let the flag touch the ground. Our American flag is sacred, and if it touches the ground, it has to be destroyed properly. And nobody wants that, so you gotta keep clapping. And if you fail clapping, then the flag touches the ground and it results in a game over, and a message accusing you of hating freedom. The maker of the game, Chris Bulch, actually admitted to just letting people embarrass themselves. Yeah, you heard me right. That was essentially why he created the game, to embarrass you. And essentially, you do feel kinda stupid sitting here clapping for a flag and making it fly by clapping your hands. It's pretty stupid. And the game surprisingly has more than one mode. It actually has two modes. Marathon, which is kind of like, I guess I would compare it to Desert Bus, where you just clap and clap and clap till you cannot clap anymore. And you have Survival mode, which is just pretty much short and stupid. Clap faster and faster and faster. And you're pretty much just embarrassing yourself even faster. And oh wait, there's more. The game just released an update. It improves the game's sound detection. Apparently, a lot of people were actually cheating and using the microphone to just talk in it and keeping the flag aloft. Damn you cheaters. You just don't want to clap. You're just not patriotic. What's wrong with you? You want the flag to die? Do you want the flag to touch the ground? Well, you can't cheat anymore. Now the microphone picks up clapping. And only clapping. If you talk in it, it doesn't register that. You have to clap. Just like in Desert Bus, if you tape the button down to make the bus keep driving, it's just gonna veer off the road. You can't cheat in that game either. So even though AmeriClap is extremely stupid, it's still patriotic because overall, you're clapping for your American flag. If you are American. If you're not and you're clapping for a flag you don't even belong to, I guess you'd feel even more idiotic. But wait, maybe I haven't fully thought this through. Maybe there will be download content where you can clap to your country's own flag. Wouldn't that be awesome? Then everybody can feel stupid as a whole. Well guys, that's my list. There's probably more patriotic games out there, but these are the ones I picked. I just wanted to bring some kind of special video to you guys for July 4th. So if you guys enjoyed watching and you haven't already, please subscribe. And thanks for watching, guys. And until next time, these videos are made by a gamer for gamers. I appreciate you guys watching.